The ocean closes above you, and your world becomes a steel coffin. No windows, no signal, no way out until they say so. You feel the deck hum beneath your boots, a low, constant vibration, like the ship is breathing. You pass a hatch. Nobody names it out loud. You already know not to ask. The scariest part isn't the depth. It isn't the pressure. It isn't even what you're carrying. The scariest part is how normal it all feels, because somewhere in this steel tube, behind locked hatches and numbered protocols, sits enough force to end civilizations. And your job, your entire purpose, is to make sure that force never moves. You signed up for silence. You got it. Now let's see what it costs you. Level 1. PRP Screened Candidate. You don't just apply for this job, you get evaluated for it. Before you touch anything classified, before you step near anything strategic, the Navy decides if your mind qualifies. The Personnel Reliability Program, PRP, is the filter, and it is relentless. Your finances are reviewed, your relationships are reviewed, your history is reviewed, not once, continuously. The moment something shifts in your life, a divorce, a financial problem, a behavioral flag, you can be pulled from duty, quietly, no drama, just gone. You learn the first rule fast. Your mind is equipment, and equipment can be taken offline. You want the badge, you want the clearance, you want to be trusted with something that matters. But the badge doesn't want your courage. It doesn't care about your patriotism. It wants your stability, your predictability, your compliance under pressure. You pass every screening, every evaluation, every psych review. You smile at the right moments, you disclose the right things, you hide the right worries. They don't ask if you're brave. They ask if you're stable. Level 2. Missile Compartment Reality Check. The first time you walk through the missile compartment, you expect to feel something. Awe, fear, gravity, something cinematic. What you actually feel is the smell of hydraulic fluid and the sound of someone updating a maintenance log on a clipboard. The Trident II D5, 3-stage solid fuel missile, range of roughly 4,000 nautical miles. Each one a precision instrument of deterrence, housed in vertical launch tubes that run the spine of the ship. This is your office, and it looks nothing like the movies. It looks like a factory floor, industrial lighting, steel panels, scheduled maintenance windows, checklist after checklist after checklist. The missiles don't hum with menace. They sit there, silent and inert, waiting for a sequence of decisions that will almost certainly never come. Your job is to keep them ready, not to use them, to keep them ready. You run the checks, you sign the forms, you verify the systems, day after day after day. The nightmare isn't what happens if you fail. The nightmare is how normal it all becomes. You stop seeing a missile, you start seeing a schedule. Level 3. Junior Weapons Division Officer. Now you own the paperwork. This submarine runs on 2 crews, blue and gold, trading the boat every patrol cycle. When your crew leaves, another crew climbs aboard. They don't get a briefing from you in person. They get your documentation. Everything you know, everything you fixed, every workaround you've discovered, it has to be written down, precisely. Because on the next patrol, someone you've never met will act on what you wrote. Your notes are scripture. Your logs are gospel. A missing detail isn't an inconvenience. It's a future emergency waiting to happen 3 months from now, 6,000 miles from here, with none of your context and all of your consequences. You start writing like your words are law, because in this system, they are. You fix a small calibration issue on a Tuesday. You document it like you're writing for a judge who hates ambiguity. Because your mistakes don't happen today. They happen next patrol. Level 4. two-person world. You learn quickly. You never do the sensitive work alone. Not because they doubt your loyalty, not because they think you're reckless, because they don't trust anyone alone. Not with this. The two-person rule is doctrine. Whenever there's authorized access to a nuclear weapon, two cleared individuals must be present, not as a formality, not as a buddy system, as a safeguard. Each person must be able to detect and stop incorrect or unauthorized actions by the other. Let that land. The system is explicitly designed for the possibility that a vetted, screened, reliability-approved human being might suddenly fail, might break, might act against everything they swore to uphold. The system doesn't assume you'll stay reliable, it assumes you might not, and it builds around that. You realize the architecture of this world isn't built on trust, it's built on doubt. Not ugly doubt, systematic doubt, cold, engineered, structural distrust of individual human judgment in moments of maximum consequence. They don't design for heroism, they design for betrayal. Level 5. WEPS Mindset, Deterrence Mission. You've been deep enough into this now to understand what you're actually doing, not protecting, not threatening, deterring. The 14 Ohio-class ballistic missile submarines in the U.S. fleet exist for one reason: to survive. If everything else is destroyed, the land-based missiles, the bombers, the command centers, these submarines are still out there, silent, invisible, ready. That's the logic of second strike deterrence. The enemy can never be sure they got everything, so they don't strike first. The threat of what they didn't kill keeps the peace. You're not a weapon, you're a promise. You're the proof that starting a nuclear war guarantees losing one. There's a cold comfort in that logic. You find it during the long watches, when the mission feels like an abstraction. You're here so nobody else starts one. But then you think about what credible actually means. For deterrence to work, it has to be believable. The weapon has to be real. The willingness to use it has to be real, or at least unverifiable from the outside. The mission sounds noble, until you picture the math. Deterrence is peace, built out of nightmare math. Level 6. The message you can't unhear. It comes through as a broadcast, routine channels, formatted text, call signs, and authentication sequences. You don't know if it's a drill. You're not supposed to assume it's a drill. The emergency action message, the EAM, is a real-world procedure. It arrives via extremely low-frequency transmission, one of the few signals that can reach a submerged submarine. It carries authorization from the National Command Authority, the President. You process the message, you verify the authentication codes, you follow the procedure you have been trained to follow without deviation, without interpretation, without pause. Your blood doesn't get a vote. You've been told that the hardest part isn't following the order. The hardest part is the moment between receiving the message and confirming its authenticity, the window where you're just a human being holding something civilizational in your hands. Every nerve says, make sure, double check, hesitate. The training says, hesitation is a liability, certainty is the mission. The scariest sound is not an alarm, it's calm. Level 7. Blue crew, gold crew, same nightmare. You meet your counterpart at crew turnover. Same rank, same job title, same ship, same mission. Different guy, different habits, different way of running the division, different culture, different discipline, different sense of humor. The blue crew and gold crew of an SSBN are essentially parallel organizations. They share a vessel but inhabit it at different times. They develop their own rhythms, their own shortcuts, their own unofficial traditions. You share a drink, you compare notes. There's even a kind of respect there, the recognition that you're both running the same brutal marathon. Then the drill alarm hits, and both crews disappear. What's left isn't people, it's roles, it's protocols, it's a weapons system executing trained responses with biological hardware. All the personality, all the culture, all the individual quirks, gone, instantly, completely. You realize the human layer of this job is permitted, even encouraged, right up until readiness requires something else. 2 crews, 1 weapon, 0 room for ego. Level 8. You learn what use control really means. You used to think the danger was a rogue commander, a Captain Ahab type, someone who snaps, someone who decides on their own that today is the day. You were wrong. Use control isn't one lock on one door, it's a layered architecture. Coded control devices, weapons system safeguards, procedural requirements, organizational checks, each layer assuming the previous one might fail. Nuclear surety has 3 pillars: safety, security, and positive control. Authorized use only, never unauthorized, never accidental, never by mistake. The system doesn't care about your conscience. It doesn't care about your moral clarity. It doesn't care whether in that moment you personally believe the order is right or wrong, or monstrous or necessary. Your job is compliance within a system designed to ensure that every step from authorization to execution is documented, verified, and witnessed. You stop fantasizing about the button. You start fearing the process, because the process is designed to move, even when your hands are shaking. The system doesn't need you to be good, just compliant. Level 9. The hidden industry behind your silence. Late in the patrol, something shifts. You stop seeing the submarine as a ship. You start seeing it as a node. Behind you, behind every bolt and seal and circuit on this vessel, there is an industrial civilization, strategic systems programs, engineers who have spent careers maintaining weapons that will never be used, inspectors who fly to facilities to count inventory they hope never moves, contractors who build components to tolerances tighter than surgery for systems that must work perfectly after years of waiting. The Trident II D5 entered production in the mid-1980s. It has been tested, upgraded, and sustained across decades. The infrastructure supporting your mission is larger than any city, quieter than any library. You realize the deterrent isn't a submarine, it's a civilization-scale routine. Thousands of people, most of whom you will never meet, most of whom never deploy, never dive, never sit under the ocean with this weight. They are all part of the same machine you were part of. Their job, like yours, is to make sure nothing happens. The deeper truth settles in. This isn't about one launch. It's never been about one launch. It's about sustaining, indefinitely, forever, the credible threat of one, so that no one has to call it. Your real mission is boredom without failure. No margin, no rest, no end date. The patrol closes the same way it opened. No headline, no ceremony, no medal pinned in a ceremony with a crowd. Just the watch log, the crew rotation, the depth gauge, and the hum. You hand off your notes to the next guy. He nods. He doesn't say much. Neither do you. You climb off the boat in the gray morning. You breathe air that doesn't smell like recycled steel. You drive home, you sleep. Somewhere behind you, the blue crew is already boarding. They're checking the hatches, they're reviewing your logs, they're learning the schedule. The ocean closes above them, and their world becomes a steel coffin.